here we have Tom, the guitarist from the band Final Clause of Tacitus, a very energetic and driven rock band. Do check them out, you guys. And this is just me trying to have a chat with Tom and see what guitars he uses and how he approaches when he writes and stuff like that, and all the good stuff, gear. If we can try and cover as much as we can in the next 15, 20 minutes. It's never going to happen. It's going to be for hours, probably. Thanks for coming on board, Tom. And this has been great. It's something new. I've never tried this before either. So I'm just kind of launching out to different bands and musicians. And thanks for doing this anyhow.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. Any excuse to geek out about my musical equipment. I'm 100% geek in no matter what I do. So yeah, this is my idea of a good time.
Yeah, cool. Let me just ask you, what kind of guitars do you used to use, and are you using those same guitars right now?
Yeah, so years and years and years ago when I just started playing, I played a Yamaha Pacifica. That was my very first guitar. Okay. And it wasn't and they're known generally, I think, throughout the business as being a bit naff, but that's because everyone always gets bought the really cheap version. I actually had a really good version, sort of like the, I think it probably cost around about 700 quid, I think, in the end. But my uncle used to work for Yamaha, so he got a cheeky discount, which was good. But yeah, so I used to use that, and that was a humbucker style guitar, and I could coil tap it to get a single coil sound. But I just used to play humbucker guitars all the time, and when we started doing all this Final Clause thing, for some reason it just sounded too generic.
Yeah,
for me, like everyone uses humbuckers, and I feel single coils are making a comeback. And while you do get the problems with the bit of hum here and there if you get close to electrical equipment, because it can't cope with that. But generally speaking, they just have more tone, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And I'm all about the tone. Cool. I'm all about the tone. I love being. You have to hear the guitar, and it has to kick you in the face when you hear it, as opposed to sort of blend in with more other things, which is its own thing. I mean, I think generally a lot of metal music, the guitars and the bass blend very smoothly together, and it creates a very flat bed of music, which is perfect for that style. But I mean, as you said, we're highly energetic, funky kind of stuff. You need, each instrument is its own character in this stuff. Cool. So you need good tone. So I play, hold on a sec, I've got it, where is it? It's up here. I play a Fender Tele, which I'll get out. There we go. Here's the bad boy.
Cool.
My Fender Telecaster, classic red.
Perfect.
And full, complete with chips and damage that I have generated over the years of owning it, because I am not careful at all with my instruments. It's been repaired a few times. Mm-hmm. Certainly the up here, the old screw that goes in here. If you ever watch us play, I jump around all over the place and swing my guitar around all over the place. The screw in here actually just came out, and the whole threading of the thing just got destroyed. So I couldn't even re-screw it. So this screw, I had to re-drill and re-screw, and the screw goes in about that far. Sorry, about that far there. All right. So it doesn't. It's not coming out.
Okay. So which year is that guitar then? What year?
Sorry, say that again. My headphones fell off.
So what year is that guitar made then?
Good question. It's a modern one. It's not a vintage. That's for sure. So I don't think I could tell you.
All right.
It's a modern made. It's USA.
Okay.
It's a USA one, so it's not Japan or Mexico. Although I don't think they do them in Japan anymore, do they? One of them.
No, I don't think so either. There'll be some dudes out there when I put this out on YouTube that will say, "Oh, they do. What do you mean they don't?"
Oh yeah.
So they can break.
To those people, I'm sorry, I didn't do my research. But anyway, this is it's made in USA. This one, and it's just an absolute monster. You get the full treble tone out of it. Okay. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to anticipate your next question.
Okay.
Gee, Tom, what do you play it through? Well, I'm glad you are. I'm glad you asked, Ryan. I'm glad you asked because.
All right, Tom. What do you play it through?
Oh, mate, what a good question, mate. Yeah, did not anticipate that one bit. Play it through this little bad boy.
Cool.
Hughes
I remember seeing that, man, a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It lights up blue all the way through. Have you done any mods on it, or it's all stock?
It is. Yeah, it is just out the box.
Yeah.
And done. But yeah, you need the tubes.
Yeah, of course.
You need the tubes because that's where all the tone comes from.
Yeah.
And while, to be fair, actually, solid state is really good these days.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if you know.
Yeah, definitely.
And they give a particular sound, which sometimes is exactly what you want.
Yeah.
But as I say, this, like, for my sound, for my tone, I need good tubes, which this has, and also it's small and portable. I don't have to carry around this giant amp like all these other people do, and these giant cabs as well. I've just got a 2x12 cab.
Okay.
And
that was going to be my next question. Do you use actual cabinets, or is it via a load box and stuff like that? So there you go.
No. So I mean,
this one just literally came in the door like 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
All the 2 notes. You know, I'm just going to try it out. Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they're really good. Those things, like you can get what they call the little red box.
Yeah.
With Hughes and Kettner, and I've seen videos where they compare the two, and they just have a switch. You switch it from one channel to the other. Cab, red box. You can hardly tell the difference. It's insane.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I mean, cabs do sound different. Now, I think this is something that I didn't appreciate when I was younger. Is I just thought a speaker was a speaker.
Yeah.
And a cab was a cab, but it isn't. Like, I used to play it through a 1x12 Black Star, and I now play it through. Actually, I play it through an H&K cab, but the speakers have been the custom speakers inside there. I can't remember which ones they are because I didn't actually do the job. I bought it off my friend who runs a studio and stuff. So anyway, he replaced the speakers with some other speakers, and it just sounds totally different. He's an audiophile though, okay. So I mean, and I know, and the thing is, Hughes and Kettner do really nice cabs in the first place.
Okay.
Like they're good quality, and he switched out the good quality speakers for even better quality.
Yeah.
And
I do remember using a 4x12 from the same brand anyhow. So yeah. It was generally that was too much.
Oh mate, yeah. Generally, I try to keep my equipment small.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just don't need to you just don't need big kit anymore. Like it's not like the 80s when you didn't mic anything up. Like everything's mic'd up when it's a big venue anyway. So you don't need to create a huge number of decibels. Like you just need it enough for the microphone to pick it up, and then let the PA do the rest. And so save your spine.
Yeah. The next question: what string gauges are you using, and what brand strings have you been using, or have you changed during the years?
Now it's weird. I change a lot on my electric. I haven't really found the strings I like the most on my electric. On my acoustic, I use these Martin, and the gauges, if you can see, 12.5 light medium, which is
massive.
Odd. You don't. I mean, for acoustics, 12s, 11s, and 12s and 13s are quite common for your top E. But you don't obviously see the 0.5, but it's just right. And these are uncoated strings as well. Yeah. So I found those, and that's it. I'm happy with those.
So they're freaking high.
Yeah.
Do a very quick depth of tone.
They're just perfect. But for my guitar, I've not found a set of strings that I really truly like. I've tried elixirs before, and they sound, and I just can't tell the difference so much with guitars because you put it through so much stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Like I haven't really been able to find the difference. So the thing I'm going to try next, I think, is you can get. I think Ernie Ball do a set of steel strings.
Okay.
And the frequency response you get from them. So nickel wound strings give a very flat frequency response for for when they're played. A steel one, you get slightly more bottom end and top end, so you get a boost there, which I'm interested to try because my amp has got a lot of mid gain on it.
Okay.
And so I was hoping that if I try these steel ones, that maybe it will just add that slight bit of width, a little bit more width to the sound. By giving a little bit more bottom end and a little bit more top end. So I'm going to try those at some point, but they're really difficult to find, especially in the right gauge.
Okay.
Because I found them once before, but they're in a really thick gauge. So to get them to tune them, they weren't really set for standard tuning. They're set for like drop D or drop C tuning. Those ones. So when I put them on my guitar, it was just so tense. They snapped when I tried playing because I play quite hard.
Okay.
I play like an axe murderer rather than a surgeon, I think.
Yeah. So right now, what brand of strings have you got on the telly?
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
right
that was actually your question. I completely avoided it, didn't I? At the moment, they are.
You just don't want to say it.
I'll make a good politician.
Yeah.
At the moment, they're Ernie Ball standard slinky.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to use them quite a lot in the good few years. I think I've changed it to the Darios NYXLs now, and they seem to be freaking strong and quite stable in staying in tune for a very long period. And I do go crazy on the whammy bar stuff. So
I know that's the difference between. I used to like a whammy, but I can't be bothered with it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't ever really need anything that I need to use a whammy so desperately. Like I don't really do any bending, like major bends. If I do a bend, it's probably not good, but it's only subtle bends, so quarter bends or half bends. So I'll actually.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So I'll bend the neck ever so slightly, just release the tension a bit.
Okay.
And of course, if I'm doing an upwards bend, I'll just bend the string.
Yeah. I think the only kind of fixed bridge I have is this one. This is totally fixed, even though it's an Ibanez there. It's freaking fixed, and even though I still have a locking nut though. But I've had this guitar for like 15 plus years. Did me really well, and this is
the signatures.
Joe the Man, Joe Citriani.
Joe the Man.
I met him at a gig. I think that was it like 8 years ago or 6 years ago? I can't remember now. And it was backstage passing. The cool wife got me one, and I actually got him holding the guitar with me, and I've got a photo somewhere. Need to put that up, but I've changed the pickups. I'm kind of obsessed with the Seymour Duncan's Invaders now. I'm just
Seymour Duncan.
Four of my guitars are all this kind of aggressive stuff, but anyhow, I dial it down. It's too hot, but you get the clarity or the quality of the strings that it captures. You can really dial down the gain and get that spunk if you really are into that. But,
I mean, certainly D'Addario has definitely seen life on my telly. As I say, nothing's gripped me to be better than the rest or noticeably different for me. Okay,
I guess it's how it feels on your fingers. That should be the priority, shouldn't it, really? Because you can have a really long-lasting pair of strings, but if it doesn't feel good and doesn't sound good, then it's just of no use to you, really.
No, exactly, And so, I use quite light gauge on my electric.
Okay.
I like it to be as easy to play as possible. Although you do sometimes miss out on a bit of depth on the low end, on the bottom E, but generally my amp is quite growly, so it kind of covers that up a bit, which is good. You never want a thin sound when you're doing something like at least the level of rock that both you and I do. You never want a thin sound on it, but so sometimes I cover it up a little bit with my amp because I use a lighter gauge.
Cool. So apart from the telly, do you use any other guitars or for a different flavor or stuff like that?
When we record, So I mean, I've got a backup guitar which is I don't even use it because it's rubbish. It's pretty much broken anyway. So I've done a little fix-up jobs, and again, so the reason the actual guitar is really cheap. It's got a really nice pickup. It's got a Seymour Duncan something in it. I can't remember which one it is, but so it actually sounds quite good when it's plugged in and ready to go. But it's not really any consequence. But certainly when we record, I'll quite often track my telly, but also I'll track a Gibson, Gibson Standard, alongside it, because they've got basically you're getting both frequencies there. You're getting the deep warmth from the Gibson and the brightness from the telly, and you put them together and you just got the full sound.
Exactly. Perfect match, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And actually, when we record, I do it through dual amp. So I'll use my H&K on one side, and I'll use a Marshall on the other, like an old tube Marshall, because you can then layer those two together, H&K up here and then the Marshall down here, and again it just widens everything, just gives a much bigger response to the sound.
So, man, that's all the guitars we've been talking about now. Hopefully I can catch you soon, and thanks again for doing this, man.
My pleasure.
Have a great day.
Yeah, you too, man. I'll see you soon.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Oh, man, so almost got you out there, and I thought, I forgot to ask about your pedals and all those great stuff. So what do you use?
Well, I mean, asking
line arrow stuff, or is it just quite small?
It's quite small. And don't quote me on that. That's outrageous. I'm not much of a pedal user. I mean, I use pedals for specific effects. So I don't really rely on pedals for creating my sound. The sound comes from the guitar with the amp, with the cab. That's like 90% of it. And sure, I'll whack in a bit of delay once in a while.
Okay.
And I always have a little bit of compression, a little bit of reverb on there, just to crunch and expand. But nothing drastic. Really, honestly, nothing drastic. And then unless I've got a wah pedal, which is nice just for bits and pieces, and a Digitech Whammy, which actually I'm experimenting with the Digitech Whammy, because a lot like Tom Morello, he won't really use things for essentially their core purpose.
Okay.
He always ends up using things in a weird way to create some weird sound.
Yeah.
And so if I'm not playing my guitar as a proper guitar, I'm using the other things just to create an odd sound. But I mean, it's generally speaking, 90% of the time, it's just dead simple. Guitar, amp.
So does everything all the pedals go front of the amp, or is it there's a mix of front of the amp and then the effect stuff like that?
Good question. Yeah. So the chain goes Digitech Whammy, then wah, and then it goes to the amp, and then which will add the distortion, and then after the amp, it's compression and reverb.
Okay. Since you mentioned single coils, do you ever use a noise gate? Any kind of gating?
No.
Or is it on the amp or something like that?
No. I make sure that I use a good power supply.
Okay.
Because I find a lot of noise from guitars come from the power supply, the bad power supply. It ruins the electrics in the in the thing. You get ground loops, you get all sorts. Okay. So if as long as my guitar isn't next to something obviously electrical, it's dead silent.
So that was all the pedal talk. As you can see, Tom uses a very, very simple setup. So thanks again, man, and catch you sometime soon again.
Damn straight.